September is living up to its reputation as a weak month for stock, and getting back into rally mode may take some time. For the month, all three major stock indices are in the red. The worst performing has been the Nasdaq, which is off by about 9%, but the S&P 500 and the Dow are down also about 5% and 2.5% respectively. And there's a few reasons to explain the weakness. First, tech stocks such as Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Tesla had big gains all this summer. And Newton's theory of stock market gravity says you gotta come back down to earth. Tech was just way overvalued. Next is the fact that lawmakers continue to bicker and can't seem to agree on a stimulus package. And that's putting downside risk for consumers this coming holiday season. Then we have the political risk regarding the Supreme Court nominee and the fight that will come regardless of who is selected. And the fact that we have a presidential election coming up doesn't help either. And lastly, you can add in the coronavirus. Plain and simple, the entire market was overvalued. So let's continue our analysis of the market. We're going to look at two charts beginning here with the 2-year weekly on their spiders, the SPY. And we've talked about this just in the last video. And here's what's going on. We've definitely had a decline from that top here, moving on down. Now we're sitting right on the 20 EMA. So the question is, do we reflect back up or does it continue on down? It's very stubborn and it's been selling off. So the idea of a reflection is less probable, though still on my mind. Moving down here into volume, that's not going to tell us much. But here into the MAC, we can see that the fast line is now resting right on top of the slow line. So again, anything could happen. But even if the fast line does come through the slow line, it still can reflect and head back on up. But here's the thing. Regardless of the reflection, I'm expecting a topping process and then perhaps another move down. But that won't come for a while. So we're still in the danger zone here, regardless of what happens. So continue to be patient. Here in the histogram, definitely a continuation, pretty steep. Into the price rate of change, a bit of a reflection, but that's not helping much. Relative strength has gone through that 50 line and is heading down, which means that the market may continue down as well. We see also in stochastics, there's still a big difference between the fast line and the slow line, and no sign of any bottom. Moving here into Williams, same thing. Back on up to the price chart. One last look. Let's now go to the daily chart and see why I think there might be a reflection. And this is the 1-year daily on the spiders. And here's why I'm thinking there might be a reflection. From that top coming on down here, we had an attempt to bottom right there. And I think we're going to have another attempt here. We've gone through the 20 and the 50, but we're still above the 200 EMA. And it doesn't go through that 200 EMA very often. So that's sign number one. Moving down here, volume. Volume was steeper on the downside there than it is here. So things are calming down a little bit. Into the MAC, the fast line is just barely below zero with the slow line at zero. There's not a very big separation between the two. So I don't think that this sell-off necessarily is all that significant at this time. Moving down here into the histogram, you see pretty much the same thing. That first move there and this move here, those aren't real significant, such as down here and then down here. Those were significant moves. These are moderate. Moving down into the price rate of change, don't really see anything from that, so we'll pass that on up. But here into the relative strength, you kind of see where the attempts are being made at trying to bottom. 1, 2 attempts there. Moving into the stochastics, you kind of see a bigger process, basing process in this area here. And then lastly, into the Williams. To me, this is a little bit more convincing that the bottoming process is trying to happen here. So moving back up to the price chart, I think you have a mixed bag, but for the most part, I see that the majority of the oscillators are trying to bottom. So that's why I'm looking at the daily chart and then reading into the weekly chart that perhaps we'll get a reflection. Now, that doesn't mean that we are going to get a reflection. So as usual, just continue to be patient. We're in a danger zone, so be cautious. And for today, that's ChewDog Charts. Thank you.